Hey, hi, Red. How are you?
Doing really well, honey. I couldn't really get no better. If I was any better at all, I'd be a twin and the world couldn't handle it.
Um, well, you've been out of the house for what, 12 hours? What have you thought about the most over the past 12 hours?
I'm just seeing my family. Being out, I think the first thing, that anybody wants to do, or at least me, when you got three youngins at home and a beautiful woman, is getting back home to put my arms around their neck, and give them a good hug and a kiss. Um, but as far as gameplay wise, it's like, you know, what happened? Yeah, that's the biggest question with like three question marks. And I mean, ultimately, I have an idea, especially post eviction, you get a little bit of information fed to you here and there. But for the majority, just can't wait to see the family.
Oh, yeah. So you obviously kind of have put together that Jared embellished a lot of what Cameron said and kind of wanted to like split you guys apart. Have you also kind of realized that what may have sealed your fate was that conversation that you had with Jared about mending fences with Cameron? They kind of freaked out and they were like, no, 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 we can't have that. Are you starting to put those pieces together as well?
I was in that conversation, actually putting it together because some things didn't line up with what he said the first time. And well, the thing is, in there, like your thoughts about the conversations that you have shift and change, and it's hard to remember what exactly you did say. So a lot of that, I kind of like, even though it raised an eyebrow, I was like, I credit it to the pressure of Big Brother and all the conversations happening and such like that. But I did give the guy my word, that I would keep that information between us because it's the sacredness of the HOH room, and I was trying to play a game of loyalty and honesty. I really was. So, and that may have been my undoing ultimately. But if that is your undoing, I don't think it's a bad thing to go out on.
Yeah. I know you told Julie last night that you felt most betrayed by Cam. I'm assuming that's changed over these hours. Who are you feeling most betrayed by now? Or is it still Cam?
Well, in the moment, before I had the information that I had after, of course it was Cam because me and him were best friends. But now, knowing what I know, because you can only know what until uh, I definitely am excited about being able to mend that relationship on the outside. He's an amazing guy, an awesome friend, and it's sad the way that things turned out, to be honest, and that people would use personal relationships and that form of deceit to split those up. But it is Big Brother, so it's to be expected because it's unexpected. So that's just the way that it is.
I know when you were watching after your eviction, Bowie, Jane, and Cameron, who both voted for you to stay, looked upset. Was it nice seeing that? Oh, wow, Cameron did care about me. He seems upset.
Well, it's never good to see anybody that you care about upset, but it was telling to my situation and the people that I should have stuck with and should have stuck by. Bowie Jane, she's just an awesome individual. Anyway, you can't look at that girl and not smile, especially with that big smile of hers and her upbeat personality. And it's unfortunate that because of her decision, it may make her a target. And I told her, because I had some inclination for going, I was like, whatever happens, don't do anything to blow up your game. Keep uh, your opinions to yourself in that sense. Because she was like, oh, there'll be hell to pay and all this other stuff if you leave Red. And it's sad to know that that may be what's in future for Bowie because, like I say, she's awesome. But seeing Cam's face there toward the end let me know, that what we had was real, and that's a good thing.
That's what I thought. But I will say, so Cameron, I know you've known now that Cameron won HOH. Who do you think he should target this week?
Honestly, Izzy, he's got to split up that three. So as far as a target goes, but who he puts up next to her is a crapshoot in the house. It really just depends on his talks and relationships that he's developing or not developing in the house. However that goes. But as you've seen, I haven't talked to him much for the last week, so I'm
Yeah.
kind of out of the loop as to what he's thinking about or what he's feeling this week. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's super early. It's only been, 12 hours, like we said, but it does sound like maybe he's targeting Jag again, which I don't know about that. What do you think? He could just be
Well,
saying, but
I think Jag, because he has the target on his back from being on the block so many times, that's an easy move. It's less blood on your hands, and he's already got a big target on his back. So I could see why he would be moving forward with that. And maybe he still feels solid out of, with Legend 25. I'm not really certain. I hope not.
he was just blindsided. He can't. think that's real still, can he?
You wouldn't think so, but like I say, I'm hoping that he'll set his sights on at least Izzy, because I think that's the person he likes least in the game and who least like him.
Yeah.
So ultimately, that's who I'd like to see him target and get out of the game just for his game's sake.
Yeah, I do want to quickly ask about America. I know you've been asked about it. You said like, she uses her womanly ways. I don't know. You weren't a big fan of her. Was this like an unrequited crush, or like what did you not like about America? We're just trying to understand.
No, I mean, it definitely wasn't a crush, and being a man with somebody that's very special to you on
Oh,
the outside, it's hard for me to get close to those kinds of people out of respect for Allie Mae. I didn't want it to look a certain way for her as she's watching at home. So that kind of limited my gameplay ability. And I even had a talk with her and Blue and even Riley about, if I seem a little distance, in the beginning of this, it's because I don't want Allie Mae to look upon it in a certain light. Now, other reasons that America set off my alarm bells were simply gameplay related. Like, these are the things that she's willing to do to move herself forward. Mostly, and I'll give you an example, like her relationship with Corey. She hadn't really made any moves with anybody in the house yet, but Corey made a comment when we were talking about what would your first date be and what your ideal kind of woman and all this other thing. He said, well, first of all, a woman will have to find me funny or she will find me intolerable. And within 5 minutes, America was like, oh, you're so funny. And I was like, okay, it was just a big kind of a tell, like, oh, that's the way she's moving forward with this. And to me, I was like, well, I see the direction she's headed. And also, just in talking with her, there was very limited information. She was very guarded on anything that she would say. And she's a super fan. So all those things were alarm bells. Plus, she was not a part of my majority alliance. So it didn't make sense for me to work with her. And everyone else had distrust with her. So for me, it's easier to not talk to somebody than to say something where they might ask me a question and I got to be honest.
I know I have to wrap up. Two quick questions. Any hints that, or anything looking back where you were like, oh, maybe Suri and Jared, like any hints, anything that you saw that you were like, that makes sense, or were they really good about covering it up?
No, they were great about keeping it very well hidden. I mean, in the first couple of weeks, I did notice some like similarities in their look and how close they were. But like I said, it's Big Brother, and it's like this little fishbowl that brings you to build bonds and relationships a lot quicker than you normally would in the outside world. So I just kind of swept that under the rug as the Big Brother effect, and moved on.
Yeah. Last question real quick, Red. Are you interested in playing Big Brother again?
Absolutely, in a different time in my life when my youngins got a little more time to grow up. I think it was so hard for me because Legend is so young. Allie Mae is a young mother, a first-time mother, not having me there to help. I felt a bit guilty about that. So that really weighed heavy on my mind and my conscience in the game. But as far as next year and him being older and her having more preparation for what this is like, I would absolutely play again.
Okay. Well, thank you, Red. I appreciate you chatting this morning, and have a good day.
Yes, ma'am. You do the same.